The night sky on Earth was quiet. A small, strange spaceship zoomed through the dark, leaving a trail of light. It was the first time aliens had come so close to Earth. The spaceship, made of shining metal, hovered above the clouds. Inside, a group of alien explorers sat in their seats, staring at their planet's newest discovery. The leader of the group, Sailor, was the first to speak. "This is it," he said. "The most dangerous planet in the galaxy. I have heard many stories, but I still don't believe them. We will see for ourselves." His crew members looked out of the spaceship windows. They saw the bright lights of cities below, but they also saw large dark areas, wild forests, and dangerous places where nothing could survive. They were all excited, but also a little scared. Zeller had heard rumors about Earth. Some said that humans, the creatures living on this planet, were weak. Others said humans were smart and dangerous, able to survive even the worst threats. But Sailor was sure that nothing could live on a planet so deadly. "Let's land," he ordered. "We need to learn about these humans." The spaceship slowly descended, cutting through the clouds. Below them, Earth looked like a giant green and blue ball, with huge oceans and big mountains. There were places covered with thick forests, and places where the ground was dry and cracked. The crew saw storms moving across the planet's surface, with lightning flashing and winds howling. They couldn't believe how wild the planet was. As the spaceship landed, the crew members put on their helmets and checked their equipment. They were ready to explore. The door of the spaceship opened with a loud hiss, and cool air rushed inside. It smelled strange, like wet grass and something more powerful. They stepped out onto the planet's surface. The ground beneath their feet felt soft. The grass was tall and thick, waving in the wind. Zeller looked around. The planet was beautiful, but also terrifying. Giant trees rose high into the sky, their branches twisting like arms. Birds with bright feathers flew above them, making strange sounds. There was a noise in the distance, something big moving through the forest. Maybe an animal, or maybe something worse. "Stay alert," Zeller ordered. "Let's move out slowly. We need to see if the rumors are true." As they walked, the aliens couldn't believe what they were seeing. There were no huge beasts running wild, no explosions or giant storms that could kill them. Instead, they saw strange, small creatures moving around, things like insects and birds that seemed to live peacefully. But they couldn't shake the feeling that something dangerous was close. After a while, they heard footsteps. The aliens froze. In the distance, they saw humans, strange creatures walking on two legs. They were moving through the tall grass, talking to each other in a language the aliens couldn't understand. The humans looked different from what the aliens had imagined. They weren't weak. They were strong, with muscles that showed they could survive in this wild world. One of the humans looked up and saw the aliens. He stopped and pointed. The others turned around and stared at the aliens too. The aliens were surprised. These humans didn't run away or hide in fear. Instead, they stood their ground, watching the aliens closely. Zeller stepped forward, trying to look as calm as possible. "We come in peace," he said, though the humans didn't understand his words. The humans didn't seem scared. In fact, they seemed curious, just like the aliens. Slowly, one human walked closer. He was tall, wearing a strange outfit made of leather and fur. His eyes were sharp, and his face looked strong. The alien crew looked at each other nervously. What would the humans do next? The human stopped in front of Sailor and looked at him. Then he reached out his hand. It was a strange gesture. The aliens had never seen anything like it. Was it a sign of peace, or was it a trick? But Sailor knew that if he didn't try, they might never learn anything about these humans. He slowly reached out his hand, and the human shook it firmly. The crew watched in surprise. They had expected something completely different, maybe an attack or a warning. But instead, the human gave them a friendly handshake. "Welcome," The human said in simple words, "Earth is our home." Zalor couldn't believe it. These humans weren't scared. They weren't hiding. They weren't weak. They were living, thriving, and even offering a handshake. Zalor looked around, still unsure about the planet. It was dangerous, yes, but something about these humans made him think they could survive anything. As the crew followed the human leader through the thick grass, they kept looking around. Earth was a place of danger, but it was also a place where life seemed to fight back. The humans weren't afraid. They had learned to live with the dangers, even make them part of their world. The aliens had come expecting to find a planet filled with fear. Instead, they found a world full of life and strength. They couldn't understand how humans had managed to survive. But they were about to learn just how incredible these humans were. Zalor and his crew walked deeper into the wild forests of Earth. The air was thick with the smell of damp earth and plants. Tall trees surrounded them, their branches twisting high into the sky. Birds with strange colors flew past, and insects buzzed all around. The ground was soft, and the path ahead was hidden by thick bushes and grasses. The aliens had expected to find humans hiding from the dangers of Earth, trembling in fear. Instead, what they saw shocked them. Ahead, in a clearing, a group of humans was working together. Some were building shelters made of branches, while others were carefully planting seeds into the ground. They moved quickly and efficiently, like they had done this many times before. But what really surprised Zalor was that the humans didn't seem afraid of the many dangers around them. There were giant predators nearby, but the humans seemed confident, even calm. One human, a woman, held a long spear in her hand. She walked carefully into the woods, her eyes sharp. She wasn't afraid of the creatures that might be hiding in the trees. The aliens watched as she moved silently, listening to the sounds of the forest. She stepped carefully over the leaves and branches, her senses alive. Zalor leaned closer to his crew. "Look at her. She walks like she owns the forest. She's not afraid of anything." The woman stopped near a large bush and crouched down. She gently pushed the branches aside and looked carefully at the ground. There, lying in the grass, was a dangerous creature, a wild beast with sharp teeth and thick, leathery skin. It was the size of a small elephant, and its glowing eyes watched the woman closely. But instead of running or attacking, the woman stood still. She didn't make a sound. Slowly, she reached into her bag and pulled out a strange whistle. She blew it softly, and the sound filled the air. The creature's eyes softened, and it lowered its head. The woman approached it, carefully and slowly. With a gentle hand, she placed it on the creature's large head. The beast didn't fight back. Instead, it seemed to trust her. She tamed the beast. One of the aliens whispered in disbelief. "How did she do that?" The woman smiled as the creature let out a soft grunt. She rubbed its head, and then, as if giving an order, she turned and walked back to the camp. The beast followed her, its giant feet making heavy thuds on the ground. The aliens couldn't believe their eyes. This woman had just tamed one of Earth's deadliest creatures. How was that even possible? Zalor had expected humans to run from danger, not make it their ally. The aliens watched as the woman returned to the camp with the creature following her like a pet. The other humans greeted her with smiles. She spoke to them in a language that the aliens didn't understand, but the tone of her voice was warm and friendly. "This planet is amazing," one of the alien crew members said. "It's like the humans have learned to live with everything on it. Not only do they survive, but they make the dangerous creatures part of their world." Zalor nodded. He had been sent to learn about these humans, but nothing had prepared him for what he was seeing. The humans weren't hiding from the dangers. They were living with them. They had learned to control the wild beasts, grow their own food, and build homes in the most dangerous places. As they continued their walk, the aliens saw more examples of human survival. They came across a group of men who were digging deep holes in the ground. The aliens couldn't understand at first, but then they saw the humans pulling out giant roots from the soil. The roots were thick and strong, and they looked like they could feed a whole village. The aliens realized that these humans knew how to use the land to grow food, even in a place like this, where most plants wouldn't survive. Further down the path, they saw more humans building homes. These homes were not made of wood or stone like the aliens had expected. Instead, they were built from the very trees and plants of the forest, carefully arranged to blend in with the environment. The homes were safe from the creatures that roamed the land, and they were strong enough to withstand the fierce storms that often swept through the planet. Zelor felt a strange mix of respect and confusion. How had these humans learned to survive in such a harsh place? How had they managed to build such strong homes, grow food, and tame deadly beasts without the advanced technology that the aliens had? The more he watched, the more he realized that humans had something special, something that allowed them to survive on Earth, the deadliest planet in the galaxy. As the day ended, the humans gathered around a large fire. They sat together, talking and laughing. Some of them played simple music on instruments made from wood and bone. The aliens watched from the shadows, still unsure of what to make of these humans. They had come to Earth thinking it was a planet of death and danger. But now, they saw something different. The humans weren't just surviving. They were thriving. Zelor looked at his crew. We came here thinking humans were weak. But now, I'm not so sure. These people aren't just surviving. They are mastering this planet. The aliens stood in silence, realizing that they were witnessing something incredible. Humans weren't just living on Earth. They were making it their home, no matter how deadly it was. And that made them more powerful than the aliens had ever imagined. After spending a few days on Earth, Zadler and his crew started to feel a little more comfortable. They had seen many strange things, but they still believed that humans were nothing more than survivors. The aliens couldn't shake the idea that Earth's dangers were the only reason humans had managed to stay alive. I still don't understand it, one of the crew members said as they walked through the forest. How can they live with these monsters and storms? They must be lucky, right? Zeller nodded. Yes, they are lucky. They have learned to survive, but they are not strong. We have technology, weapons, and skills that they can't even imagine. We just need to keep watching, and we will see their weakness. They continued to watch humans, waiting for a mistake, something that would prove their belief. The aliens had come to Earth expecting to find weak creatures who could easily be controlled, but every time they thought they had found something, they were left surprised and confused. One day, the aliens saw a group of humans out in the open. The humans were working near a dangerous cliff, close to a fast-moving river. The aliens watched from behind a large tree, thinking this would be the perfect opportunity to see how fragile humans really were. The cliff was unstable, and the river's water was wild and strong. Surely, this was a place where humans could make a mistake. Zaylor smiled. Look at them. They have no fear of the cliff. They are foolish to be so close. The humans were building something near the edge. A few were digging into the ground, while others carried heavy stones. They moved quickly and carefully, working as if they were not worried at all about falling into the dangerous river below. Suddenly, one of the stones slipped from a worker's hands. It rolled towards the edge of the cliff. The alien crew gasped, thinking the stone would fall into the river below and cause a disaster. But instead of running or panicking, the human closest to the stone reached out with a quick movement, grabbing it just in time. Did you see that? One of the aliens whispered. How did he move so fast? He didn't even look afraid. Zeller's face was serious. This is just luck. He's careful, but that doesn't mean humans are strong. They are just surviving, using their surroundings. They continued to watch the humans as they worked. As the day went on, the aliens started to notice something strange. The humans were always alert. They were always looking out for danger, always ready for anything. It was as if they had been trained by Earth's dangers, learning to move with the planet rather than against it. Later, the aliens watched as a group of humans made their way through a thick jungle. The air was heavy, and the trees were tall and thick. The sounds of hidden creatures echoed all around them. The aliens expected the humans to be afraid, to hesitate. But they didn't. The humans moved like they knew exactly where to go. One man led the way, his face calm and focused. Behind him, the others followed without a sound, stepping carefully, not disturbing the jungle around them. They passed large, dangerous creatures, but none of the humans seemed scared. Instead, they moved quickly, and when a dangerous creature came too close, they used clever tools to distract it or move it away. Sailor couldn't believe his eyes. "How do they do this?" he muttered. "These humans aren't afraid of anything. They are always prepared." He turned to his crew. "They are nothing more than survivors. They don't understand true strength. We have the technology to defeat them any time." But deep down, Sailor began to feel uneasy. The longer they stayed on Earth, the more he realized something strange. The humans weren't just surviving. They were thriving in ways the aliens couldn't explain. The aliens had come to Earth thinking they would find weak creatures. Instead, they saw humans working with the planet's dangers, learning from them, and using their environment to their advantage. That night, the aliens sat around their camp, discussing their findings. Sailor stared into the fire, trying to make sense of everything. "We were wrong," he said slowly. "At first, we thought humans were just lucky. But now, I'm not sure. They are not weak. They are adapting to the dangers of Earth in ways we don't understand. It's like they've learned to fight back against this world." His crew members nodded, but one of them spoke up. "But they're still only surviving. That doesn't mean they're strong." Sailor stood up, his voice cold. "We will find their weakness. We just have to keep watching. And when the time comes, we will show them who is truly the strongest." But inside, Sailor felt a growing sense of doubt. The humans had surprised him again. Every time he thought they were weak, they proved him wrong. He was beginning to wonder if Earth's deadly environment had done more than just help humans survive. It had made them stronger. The aliens were still sure they could defeat the humans. They had the power, the technology, and the weapons. But the longer they watched, the more they began to realize that the humans were more than just survivors. They were warriors, born and made by Earth itself. And that scared Sailor more than he was willing to admit. Sailor sat quietly by the fire, staring at the flames. The more he thought about the humans, the more puzzled he became. They weren't like anything he had expected. They weren't just surviving. They were thriving in ways no other species could. Every day, the aliens saw something new, something that made them question everything they thought they knew. The next morning, Sailor and his crew set out again, this time to observe more closely how humans dealt with danger. They had already seen how the humans lived in the harsh environment, but now they wanted to understand what made them so strong. Could it be their technology, or was it something else? As they walked deeper into the jungle, the crew spotted a group of humans at the edge of a steep mountain. They were preparing to climb, each person carrying a rope and a few simple tools. It seemed like a risky move, and Sailor was curious to see how they would handle it. One by one, the humans began their climb, moving with skill and confidence. They used the ropes to secure themselves, but they didn't look nervous. They moved quickly, scaling the rocky surface with ease. Sailor had seen many species try to climb difficult terrain before, but none of them had moved with such purpose and strength. Every step seemed calculated, yet effortless. "Look at them," one of the aliens said. "They're not afraid. They're moving like this is second nature to them." Sailor nodded, but he wasn't impressed yet. "They are skilled, yes, but it's just a mountain. We could easily conquer it with our technology. This means nothing." As the humans neared the top, Sailor's attitude began to change. A loud roar echoed through the air. A massive creature, larger than anything they had seen before, appeared at the top of the mountain. It was a giant predator, with sharp claws and teeth, its fur thick and bristling with aggression. The humans didn't panic. Instead, they acted as if they had planned for this moment. A woman at the front of the group pulled out a long spear and held it in front of her. The creature growled, glaring down at the humans, its eyes burning with hunger. Zalor was ready to see them fail. They can't possibly fight this creature, he thought. It's too powerful for them. But to his shock, the humans didn't run. Instead, they surrounded the creature in a tight circle. The woman with the spear led the charge, lunging forward with incredible speed. She dodged the creature's claws and thrust the spear into its side. The predator howled in pain but didn't retreat. The humans pressed on, working together as a team. One by one, the other humans moved in, distracting the creature and striking at its weak points. Zalor couldn't believe what he was seeing. They were working together, using their strength and strategy to fight a creature far stronger than any one of them. The battle was over in minutes. The creature, stunned and injured, finally retreated into the jungle, its roar fading into the distance. The humans stood victorious, breathing heavily but calm. They had fought not with advanced weapons or technology, but with teamwork, courage, and raw strength. The aliens watched in silence, struggling to comprehend what they had just witnessed. They beat it, one of the crew members said, his voice filled with disbelief. They fought that beast and won. Zalor felt a knot form in his stomach. He had underestimated the humans. They were not just survivors. They were fighters. They had strength that went beyond physical power. They had a will to survive that seemed unbreakable. As the humans celebrated their victory, Zalor and his crew watched from the shadows. "This is not what I expected," Zalor admitted. "They are not just using Earth's dangers to survive. They are overcoming them." The humans didn't rely on technology to defeat the predator. They used their minds, their strength, and their unity. They knew how to work together as a team, how to use their surroundings to their advantage. It wasn't just survival. It was strength in every sense of the word. The crew continued to observe, and over the next few days, they saw more examples of human strength. They watched as humans lifted heavy logs to build shelters, carried large loads across difficult terrain, and protected each other from the dangers of the planet. But what stood out the most was their ability to never give up. No matter how hard the task was, no matter how dangerous the creature or the storm, the humans always pushed forward. Zalor began to feel something he had never felt before: respect. He had come to Earth expecting to find a weak, fragile species, easy to control. But now, he saw that humans had something far more dangerous: strength born from their will to survive, a strength that no alien weapon or technology could easily destroy. "They are not like us," Zalor said quietly. "They are stronger than we thought, and we have underestimated them." His crew nodded, realizing that the humans were far more than just survivors. They were powerful in ways the aliens couldn't understand, and that made them a threat that wasn't easily defeated. Zalor sat in the control room of his ship, watching the humans below. His mind was filled with thoughts, none of them comforting. The more he saw, the more he realized that the humans were far stronger than he had ever imagined. They were no ordinary species. They were powerful in ways he couldn't explain. "We need to test them," Zalor said, his voice firm. His crew looked at him in surprise. "What do you mean? Haven't we seen enough already?" Zalor turned to face them, his eyes cold. "They are too strong. We need to see just how far they can go. We need to push them to their limits." He had seen the humans fight, survive, and work together. But he wasn't sure if they had the strength to face a true challenge. If they could overcome what he was planning, maybe, just maybe, they could prove themselves worthy of respect. The next morning, the aliens set their plan in motion. They sent a group of their best warriors to Earth. The warriors were equipped with advanced weapons and technology, ready to test the humans. Zeller watched from his ship, ready to see how the humans would respond to the threat. The warriors landed in a remote area of the jungle, far from any human settlements. They were hidden, watching carefully, waiting for the humans to approach. Zeller believed this would be the perfect place to see how the humans reacted to true danger. If they couldn't face this challenge, then Zeller would know they were not as strong as he thought. Hours passed, and nothing happened. The aliens were getting impatient. They had expected the humans to find them by now, to show their usual strength and courage. But the humans didn't come. Instead, Zellers' crew grew worried. "Maybe they know we're here," one of the aliens said. "What if they're afraid?" "No," Zeller replied. "They're not afraid. They're smarter than that. They're waiting, observing. They will come." Finally, after what felt like an eternity, a group of humans appeared. They moved carefully through the jungle, their eyes scanning the area for danger. Zeller watched closely, curious to see how they would react when they discovered the aliens. The humans didn't seem surprised. They moved with the same confidence they always had. But this time, there was a difference. They didn't just walk into danger. They were prepared. Zellers' crew saw it too. The humans had come with weapons, simple tools, but tools that showed they were ready for whatever challenge lay ahead. They had learned from their environment, using the knowledge they had gained over the years to prepare for any threat. They weren't just surviving. They were adapting. The aliens waited for the humans to get closer. When they were within range, Zeller gave the order. The alien warriors leaped from their hiding places, charging toward the humans with speed and power. The humans didn't flinch. They moved into action immediately. One of the humans pulled a device from his belt. It glowed brightly, releasing a pulse of energy that sent one of the alien warriors flying backwards. The other humans quickly surrounded the warrior, using their weapons and strength to force him back. They didn't fight like a group of individuals. They fought as one, moving together in perfect harmony. Zeller watched with shock as the humans fought with such skill. They weren't just defending themselves. They were attacking, taking control of the situation. The alien warriors tried to fight back, but they were overwhelmed by the human speed and strength. At first, Zeller thought the aliens would win. They had advanced technology and weapons far beyond anything the humans had ever seen. But the humans were different. They used their surroundings to their advantage. They worked together like a well-oiled machine. And they fought with a passion that made them nearly impossible to defeat. After a long and fierce battle, the alien warriors were forced to retreat. The humans stood victorious, breathing heavily but calm. Their teamwork, their strength, and their ability to adapt had won the day. Zeller felt a strange mixture of respect and fear. He had sent his best warriors, equipped with the best technology, and the humans had defeated them. It wasn't just luck. It was skill, intelligence, and a strength that went beyond anything Zeller had ever expected. His crew looked at him, waiting for his reaction. Zeller stood silently, his thoughts racing. "We were wrong," he finally said, his voice quiet. "The humans are stronger than we ever thought." The crew members exchanged glances, unsure of what to say. They had seen the humans fight, and they couldn't deny what they had witnessed. The humans weren't just survivors. They were warriors, warriors who were willing to do whatever it took to protect their world and each other. "We have to leave," Zeller said after a long pause. "We underestimated them. We've made a grave mistake." As the alien ship lifted off the ground, leaving Earth behind, Zeller looked out at the planet below. The humans had passed the test. They had proven themselves worthy of survival, worthy of respect. Zeller didn't know what the future held for them, but one thing was clear: humans were not to be underestimated. They had strength in ways no one could understand, and it was a strength that couldn't be broken. Zeller couldn't stop thinking about the humans. Everything he had believed about them was wrong. His crew was still shocked from the test, and many of them were now questioning their mission. How could such a small, fragile species be so strong? How could they defeat warriors like theirs, with nothing but their will and simple tools? As Skylar stood by the window of the ship, looking at the planet below, his thoughts were full of doubt. He had come to Earth believing it was just another weak world, one that would fall easily to the strength of the galactic empire. But he had been wrong. The humans had proven that their strength went beyond what he could see or understand. He turned to his crew. "We can't continue this mission. Not now, not after what we saw." The crew looked at him, surprised. "What do you mean? We came here to conquer this planet. We can't just leave." Sailor shook his head. "We were sent to conquer them, yes. But now, I see that these humans aren't like any other species we've encountered. They are not easy to defeat. They have something inside them, something we can't control or destroy." "But we are stronger," one of the aliens said, unsure of himself. "We have technology, weapons, everything we need to defeat them." Thelor looked at his crew, his expression serious. "It's not just about strength or technology. It's their spirit, their will. They fight together, they survive together. Their strength is not in their weapons, but in their hearts and minds. I have never seen anything like it." The crew fell silent. The words echoed in their minds. The humans had done something no one expected. They had proven that raw strength and advanced technology were not enough. It was something deeper, something that could not be measured by power alone. As the days passed, Sailor and his crew continued to observe the humans from their ship. They watched as the humans went about their daily lives, working together, building, learning, and surviving. They saw the humans face dangers and come out stronger each time. Zelda realized that the strength the humans had was not just physical. It was their ability to adapt, to grow, to face impossible odds and still stand tall. One day, Sailor made a decision. He ordered the crew to land the ship, and for the first time, he intended to speak to the humans face to face. The crew was nervous, but Sailor knew this was the only way to understand them. They had to see the humans not as enemies, but as equals. The ship descended slowly, landing in a quiet area near one of the human settlements. As the door opened, Sailor stepped out, followed by his crew. The humans were nearby, and they didn't look afraid. Instead, they watched with curiosity. Sailor took a deep breath and walked toward them. The humans didn't run. They didn't attack. Instead, they waited. The leader of the human group, a man with a calm expression, stepped forward. "You came here to fight us, didn't you?" the man asked. Sailor nodded slowly. "Yes, we came here to test you, to see if you could survive." The man smiled slightly. "And you found that we can." Sailor was taken aback. "You knew all along, didn't you?" The man nodded. "We knew that we would survive. We knew that we could face whatever came our way. But we also knew that it wasn't just about survival. It was about how we do it. Together." Sailor stood silent for a moment, processing the words. The human's calm strength was something Sailor had never seen before. It wasn't just about fighting. It was about working together, about living with purpose and unity. "You are stronger than I ever imagined," Sailor admitted. "We thought you would fall, but instead, you stand tall. Your strength is not in your weapons, but in your hearts." The man looked at him with understanding. "We are not perfect. We have flaws, just like every species. But we do not give up. We keep going, no matter what. That is what makes us strong." Sailor nodded, a new respect growing inside him. The humans were not just a species to be conquered. They were a species to be respected. They had proven that strength came in many forms, and that true power wasn't just about size or technology. It was about the will to survive, the courage to fight, and the ability to stand together when everything seemed impossible. As Skylar and his crew left the humans behind, they knew their mission had changed. They had come to Earth with the intent to conquer, but now they had a different perspective. The humans had shown them that true strength wasn't something you could measure with weapons or technology. It was something that came from within, something that couldn't be taken away. Zalor looked out at the vast planet once more. Perhaps in time, we can learn from them, he said quietly. Maybe we don't need to conquer. Maybe we just need to understand. The ship lifted off slowly, leaving Earth behind. Zalor stood at the front of the command room, staring out of the window. His thoughts were heavy. He had come to Earth with the intention to conquer, to prove that the Galactic Empire was superior. But now, he wasn't sure what to think. The humans had changed everything. His crew was silent, each of them lost in their own thoughts. They had witnessed the strength of the humans, their ability to survive, and their unity. It was something none of them had expected. What had started as a mission of domination had turned into a journey of discovery. "We can't go back," one of the crew members said quietly, breaking the silence. Zalor turned to face them. "What do you mean?" "They are different," the crew member continued. "The humans. They are not like any other species we've encountered. They are stronger in ways we can't understand. They fought for their planet, not with technology, but with their hearts." Zalor nodded. "I know. I saw it with my own eyes. They have something that no other species has, something that makes them special." For a long time, the Galactic Empire had believed that strength was determined by weapons and technology. The more advanced a species was, the stronger they were. But the humans had shown them that strength wasn't just about power. It was about the will to survive, the courage to fight, and the bond between individuals. It was about doing whatever it took to protect what mattered. "Maybe we were wrong," Zalor said, his voice quiet. "Maybe we don't need to conquer them. Maybe we need to learn from them." The crew looked at him, surprised. "You want us to turn back, after everything we've done?" Zalor shook his head. "I'm not saying we should go back empty-handed, but we should go back with a new purpose. The humans have taught us something valuable. They've shown us what true strength is." The crew was silent for a moment, thinking about his words. Then, one by one, they nodded. It was hard to admit, but they knew Zalor was right. The humans had proven something that couldn't be ignored. They had proven that strength was more than just technology or weapons. It was something deeper, something that came from within. The next day, Zalor called a meeting with his crew. They had reached a decision. They would no longer be enemies of the humans. Instead, they would work together. They would share knowledge, exchange ideas, and learn from each other. The humans had shown them a new way, and now it was time to embrace it. Zalor addressed his crew. "We will go back to Earth. But this time, we will go as friends, not conquerors. We will offer them our help, our technology, and our wisdom. And in return, we will learn from them. We will learn what makes them so strong." The crew looked at each other, uncertain at first, but then they saw the truth in Zalor's words. The humans had something that could not be ignored. They had a strength that went beyond technology, beyond anything the Galactic Empire had ever known. The ship turned around and made its way back toward Earth. Zalor felt a sense of peace he hadn't felt in a long time. They were not going to conquer anymore. They were going to build something new. When they landed back on Earth, the humans were waiting for them. They had already heard about the alien ship returning, and they were ready to face whatever came next. But this time, there was no fear in their eyes. Instead, there was curiosity and hope. Zalor stepped forward, his crew behind him. The leader of the humans stepped forward as well. For a moment, there was silence between them. Then, Zalor spoke. "We came here to conquer. But now, we understand that strength isn't just about weapons or technology. It's about the will to survive, the courage to fight, and the unity of a people. We have seen that in you." The human leader nodded, understanding. "And we have seen that in you. We are not so different after all." Zalor smiled, the weight of the past few days lifting from his shoulders. "No, we are not." The two leaders shook hands, a symbol of a new beginning. The Galactic Empire, which had once sought to conquer, was now ready to work with the humans. They would share their knowledge, and the humans would share theirs. Together, they would build something better, a future based on mutual respect and understanding. As Skylar looked at the humans standing around him, he realized that Earth wasn't just a planet worth saving. It was a planet worth learning from. The humans had shown them that true strength came from within, from the heart, and that no empire, no matter how powerful, could ever take that away. It was a new beginning for both the humans and the aliens, a new chapter in the galaxy's story, one where strength wasn't measured by power, but by the will to protect, to grow, and to understand. And with that, Sailor knew that the future would be brighter, not just for Earth, but for all the species in the galaxy. They had all just begun to learn what it meant to be truly strong.